He asked me to, so I'll do it anyway, do what I can. Do you want to move forward? No, it's easy. What's that? Move forward a wee bit?
Oh yes.
Do you want to go behind? Dad, I'll need to stand with you then.
Well, welcome to this service of returning to the ashes of Sally Solomon. And Roger's gone to a great deal of trouble in his usual meticulous planning to arrange the entire day. My instructions are that he wants a religion-like service and that is to reflect Sally's life. Sally's ashes are in an egg-shaped casket here, which is really quite delightful because of all the work that she did. And eggs are important imagery in religious faith. In the Christian faith, eggs represent new life from death, and in the Jewish faith, the egg symbolises the beginning of life, and Passover marks the beginning of the existence of the Jewish people as a distinct community. So there's this lovely egg with Sally's ashes in it. And Sally herself was from the Jewish tradition, and there's a story in the Jewish tradition which in many ways represents Sally's work and how she approached life. This story is from Honi, the circle maker known as the Wise One, and he used to draw a circle and step inside of it, and he would recite special prayers for rain, so it's clearly worked. And he would even argue with God when there was a drought. But sometimes there were things that puzzled Honi, and he would ask questions to unravel them. And there was a time when he saw a man planting a carob tree, and the man was going to a lot of work digging this big hole for the carob tree, and he said, "How long is it going to take this carob tree to bear fruit?" And the man replied, 70 years. And Honi then asked the man, "Do you think you'll live another 70 years to be able to eat the fruit of this tree?" And the man answered, "Perhaps not, but when I was born into the world I found many carob trees planted by my father and grandfather, and just as they planted trees for me, I'm planting trees for my children and grandchildren, so they'll be able to eat the fruit of these trees." And in some ways that was very much Sally's approach to her work as an academic in training up young academics, some of whom were young academics trained by Sally, who are now senior academics in the university. And so I begin also with a psalm from the Jewish tradition, a psalm which I consider to be the scientist's psalm because it's asking questions. Psalm 8, where the psalmist says, "O Lord our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You've set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouths of babes and infants you've founded a bulwark because of your foes, to silence the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you're mindful of them, mortals that you care for them? Yet you've made them a little lower than God, and crowned them with honour and glory. You've given them dominion over the works of your hands. You've put all things under their feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the air and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the seas. O Lord our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth." And then the second reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, from one of the most questioning people that you would ever find in life, and let alone in religious faith. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time God chooses. He sets a time for birth and a time for death, the time for planting and the time for pulling up, the time for killing and the time for healing, the time for tearing down and the time for building. He sets a time for sorrow and the time for joy, the time for mourning and the time for dancing, the time for making love and the time for not making love, the time for kissing and the time for not kissing. He sets the time for finding, and the time for losing, the time for saving and the time for throwing away, the time for tearing, the time for mending, the time for silence and the time for talk, the time for love and the time for hate, the time for war and the time for peace. What do we gain from all our work? I know the heavy burdens that God has laid on us. He has set the right time for everything. He has given us a desire to know the future, but never given us the satisfaction of fully understanding what He does. So I realise that all we can do is to be happy and do the best we can while we're still alive. All of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It is God's gift. And so with these words, the words that I think resonate particularly about Sally's life, about being happy and doing the best we can, we now place Sally's ashes symbolically contained in the egg in the grave of her parents. But before we do that, Sally's sister Trudy has a Jewish prayer to say.
Gemornes Kaddish from Hebrew.
Gedal vi Kadash Shemei Rabah, Yalman Krieg Verte, Rakafil.
Bekayekon of Yamekon of the Physical Vectors El, the Agala of Islam, the Imam Amen. Shemi Shemi Rabah, Omi Omaya, Yitbara, Yitchapa, Ramam Yitnasi, Betadab, Yitlay, Yitala, Shemi the Kudisha, Berakui, the Elam, the Kolba, Hata, the Shadaka, Kishpakata, the Nekanata, the Amiran, the Alma, the Imam Amen. Yehi Shalaba Rabba Yishamaya, the Kayim Alini, the Alko, Yishael, the Imam Amen, the Sea Shalom, the Imam. Yep.
Amen.
The Sea Shalom. Abinu. And I'll call you to the Imam.
So Roger and Trudy will now place the ashes here in the grave.
I'd say we have one other small contribution to put in the grave, which is from two of Sally's nieces, grand-nieces. She was a grantee to them, and David, their father, has brought this. Maybe he will want to say something about it.
Well, as you know, Sally and Roger took in Oliver, the donkey, from the vet school many years ago. And this is an 8-year-old's interpretation of a donkey. It looks more like the Loch Ness Monster in my opinion, but we bring this as a contribution from the girls in Poland.
And so we conclude this part of the service today, because we're going on now to the coming around for coffee. But if you would like to symbolically drop some soil into the grave, please do so. So we'll just go on now to